How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, June 9th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Tuesday, June 8th, and of course, for today, I'm going to preview the matchups as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. I'm going to get started in the NBA, where, of course, there was some second round Eastern, or where there was some conference semifinal action. Starting off in Philadelphia, it was game 2 of the Eastern semifinals, the 1-5 matchup between the Sixers and the Hawks. And in this one, the first seed 76ers would end up beating the 5 seed Atlanta Hawks 118-102 after the Sixers went on to outscore the Hawks by 13 in the first quarter and then by 9 in the fourth. For the Atlanta Hawks in this matchup, their leading scorer was their elite starting point guard, Trae Young. He finished with 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 11 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 6 for 16 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and 8 for 9 from the foul line. And off the bench, their shooting guard out of Maryland, Kevin Huerter, would finish with 20 points and 2 blocks in 36 minutes. He shot 8 for 10 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. For the first seed Philadelphia 76ers, their leading scorer was their elite starting center, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid would finish with 40 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Minutes after, and the game started just after Nikola Jokic was named the MVP of the NBA. So, of course, I think he took that a little personally. 40 is Joel Embiid's career playoff high. In 35 minutes, he would go on to shoot 13 for 25 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 12 for 16 from the foul line. Alongside him, their starting power forward, Tobias Harris, would finish with 22 points and 6 rebounds in 37 minutes. He shot 11 for 19 from the field. Their starting shooting guard, Seth Curry, would finish with 21 points in 29 minutes as he shot 8 for 13 from the field and 5 for 6 from 3. And then their elite starting point guard out of LSU, Ben Simmons, would finish with 4 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 35 minutes as he shot 2 for 3 from the field. With this win, the series is now tied at 1 as the next 2 games will be played in Atlanta. The next game will officially be played on the 11th, which is Friday. That game will be on ESPN. That'll be a big game to look out for. And then looking out to the other game of the night, it was game 1 of the Western Conference semifinal matchup between the 1 seed Utah Jazz and the 4 seed Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers making it here after beating the Dallas Mavericks in 7. The Jazz are here after beating the Grizzlies in 5. In this matchup, the 1st seed Utah Jazz would end up beating the Clippers 112-109. The Jazz would have to outscore the Clippers by 13 in the third to at least tie the game going into the fourth, and then they brought it down to the end, and it would come down to Rudy Gobert blocking Marcus Morris's 3-point attempt to end the game and give the Jazz the very first win of the series. For the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers, their leading scorer was their goated starting small forward, Kawhi Leonard. He finished with 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 9 for 19 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. And also on the Clippers, their elite starting shooting guard Paul George would finish with 20 points, 10 rebounds, and a couple of assists in 37 minutes. He shot 4 for 17 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and 9 for 10 from the foul line. For the Utah Jazz, their leading scorer would end up being their elite starting shooting guard Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell would end up scoring 45 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists in 37 minutes as the Spider shot 16 for 30 from the field, 6 for 15 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the foul line. Alongside him in the starting lineup, their elite starting center, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 10 points and 12 rebounds alongside 2 blocks in 33 minutes as he shot 2 for 6 from the field and then 6 for 9 from the foul line. Also for the Jazz, off the bench, the 2021 Sixth Man of the Year, Jordan Clarkson, would finish with 18 points in 28 minutes as he shot 6 for 18 from the field and 6 for 14 from 3. With this win, the 1st seed Utah Jazz they've now taken a 1-0 series lead over the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers. Game 2 will be tomorrow on ESPN, so that's a lot to look out for. So right now, that is what that series is looking like. Those were 2 of the 4 matchups yesterday, so of course that is what the NBA playoffs are looking like heading into today. And there's only one matchup tonight on TNT at 9:30. It will be game 2 of the 2-3 matchup in the West between the second seed Phoenix Suns host the 3rd seed Denver Nuggets, and this will be the first game that the Nuggets have played after Nikola Jokic was most recently named the MVP. This is the Nuggets' chance to tie it up, or this is the Suns' chance to at least make it a 2-0 series. So right now, that is what the NBA is looking like. Taking a glance at what the NHL is looking like. The Tampa Bay Lightning were the defending champs. Tampa Bay Lightning were able to beat the first seed in the Central Division, Carolina Hurricanes, 2-0. And with this win, the third seed Tampa Bay Lightning will advance to the Stanley Cup semifinals. And then also jumping out to Denver, the Colorado Avalanche hosted the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And the Golden Knights would come from behind after trailing 2-0 in the third to tie it up at 2. And then they would end up with the goal in overtime to give them their third win of the series. With this series lead, the second seed Golden Knights now lead the first seed Colorado Avalanche by 1 game in the series. They are 1 game away from clinching a spot in the Stanley Cup semifinal. So right now, that is what playoff hockey is looking like leading into today. And there's only 1 game tonight at 7:30 on NBC Sports Network as the Eastern Division's 4th seed New York Islanders will host their 3rd seed Boston Bruins. Right now, the Islanders lead the series 3-2 as a win here could clinch a spot for them in the Stanley Cup final. As of right now, that is what playoff hockey is looking like at the very moment. Taking a glance at what's going on with the MLB, because yesterday was Tuesday. It wasn't really a travel day, so everyone really kind of was able to play. Starting off in Baltimore, the Baltimore Orioles host the New York Mets, and the Orioles were able to beat the Mets 10-3 for the New York Mets in this matchup. The start and the loss went to David Peterson. He allowed 4 earned runs in 2.2 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Peterson is 1-5 as a starting pitcher. In their batting lineup, their elite designated hitter Pete Alonso would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 8th and 9th home runs of the season yesterday. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start and the win went to their starting pitcher Bruce Zimmerman. Zimmerman would allow 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this win, Zimmerman is now 4-3 as a starting pitcher. In their batting lineup, their center fielder Cedric Mullins would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their designated hitter, Trey Mancini, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their right fielder, Anthony Santander, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Santander hit his 4th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Freddie Galvis, would go 3 for 5 with 2 runs. Their catcher, Pedro Severino, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their third baseman, Michael Franco, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as Michael Franco hit his 7th home run of the season. And then last but not least, their second baseman, Pat Valaika, would end up going 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are now 22-38. That is currently the worst record in the American League East. That's currently the worst record in the American League as well. They now sit 16 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays in the division, and the Orioles have now won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the New York Mets are now 29-24. That is the best record in the National League East. They now sit 2.5 games ahead of the second place Atlanta Braves. The Mets have lost 4 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates hosted the defending champs Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers were able to beat the Pirates 5-3 as all 5 of their runs came in the 5th and 6th innings. For the Pittsburgh Pirates in this matchup, the start and the loss went to JT Brubaker. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, JT Brubaker is 4-5 as a starting pitcher for Pittsburgh. Nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, and a lot of that can be attributed to great Dodger pitching. The start and the win for LA went to their young elite pitcher, Walker Buehler. He allowed no earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 2 on the day. With this win, Walker Buehler is 5-0, and the save went to the Dodgers closer, good old reliable Kenley Jansen. He allowed no earned runs and 0.1 inning pitch as he struck out 1. That would be his 13th save of the season. In their lineup, their first baseman, Max Muncy, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI. He alongside Walker Buehler, were the only players to get more than 1 hit. Buehler went 2 for 3 on the day as a pitcher in addition to his win. With this win, the LA Dodgers are now 35-25. That is currently the third best record in the National League West. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 3 games in the division. The Dodgers have only won 4 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 23-36. That is the worst record in the National League Central. They trail the first place Milwaukee Brewers by 10.5 games in the division. The Pirates have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies hosted the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves were able to beat the Phillies 9-5 as 5 of their runs came in the 8th inning to completely come from behind and pull out and hit 500 for the very first time in a while. For the Philadelphia Phillies in this matchup, the start went to Aaron Nola. Nola allowed 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 7. He would not get the decision. Their third relief pitcher, Connor Brogdon, would pick up the loss as he allowed 2 earned runs and 3 runs total in .1 inning pitched. Without, he would blow his third save of the season. With this loss, he is now 4-2 as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, their third baseman, Alec Bohm, would end up going 2-for-4 with 2 runs. And then the only other player with more than 1 hit was their shortstop, Ronald Torreyes. Torreyes would go 2-for-4. And then also for them, their elite right fielder, Bryce Harper, would go 1-for-3 with an RBI and 2 runs, as well as 2 walks. Harper would go on to hit his 8th home run of the season. For the Atlanta Braves, the start went to Drew Smyly. He allowed 2 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter on the night. The win would go to the Braves relief pitcher Sean Newcomb. Newcomb would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter, but with this win, he is now 2-0 as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Ronald Acuna Jr., will go 3-for-4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as Acuna hit his 18th home run of the season. Their third baseman, Austin Riley, would go 3-for-5 with 2 RBIs and a run as Austin Riley hit his 11th home run of the season. Their left fielder, Abraham Almonte, would go 2-for-4 with a run. Their catcher, William Contreras, would go 3-for-4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as William Contreras hit his 6th home run as well. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 29-29. That is the second best record in the National League East. They now trail the New York Mets by 2.5 games in the division, and the Braves have now won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 28-31. That is the third best record in the National League East. They now trail the New York Mets by 4 games in the division. The Phillies have now lost 6 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Boston, the Boston Red Sox hosted the Houston Astros. The Astros are able to beat the Red Sox 7-1 after leading the Red Sox 7-0 in the 4th inning. For the Boston Red Sox in this matchup, the start and the loss would go to Martin Perez. Perez would allow 6 earned runs in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, he is 4-3 as a starting pitcher this season. And then their center fielder, Kike Hernandez, would go 2-for-4. For the Houston Astros in this matchup, the start and the win would go to Framber Valdez. He would allow 1 earned run in 7.1 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this win, Framber Valdez is 2-0 as a starting pitcher. And in their batting lineup, their shortstop, Carlos Correa, will go 3-for-5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. That would be his 11th home run of the season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Yuli Gurriel, will go 3-for-4 with an RBI on the day. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 34-26. That is currently the second best record in the American League West. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by a game in the division. The Astros have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Boston Red Sox are now 37-24. That is the second best record in the American League East. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by a game and a half in the division. The Red Sox have now lost 4 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Detroit, the Detroit Tigers hosted the Seattle Mariners, and the Tigers were able to pull up a 5-3 win after scoring 4 of their runs in the first couple innings. For the Seattle Mariners, the start and the loss would go to Marco Gonzalez. Gonzalez would allow 4 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, he is 1-4 as a starting pitcher on the season. Their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, would go 3-for-4, and their only other player with more than 1 hit was their center fielder, Taylor Trammell. He went 2-for-4 with an RBI for the Mariners. For the Detroit Tigers in this matchup, the start and the win would go to Matthew Boyd. Boyd would allow no earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, he is now 3-6 as a starting pitcher. And the save would go to Jose Cisnero, who allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. That's his second save of the year. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Robbie Grossman, would end up going 2-for-3 with a run. And then their catcher, Eric Haas, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as well. He would hit his 8th home run of the year. And then their center fielder, Derek Hill, their 9th place hitter, would end up going 2-for-3 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 25-35. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 12 games in the division. The Tigers have now won 6 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are now 30-32. That is the third best record in the American League West. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by 6 games in the division. The Mariners have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Tampa, the Tampa Bay Rays hosted the Washington Nationals, and the Rays were able to beat the Nationals 3-1. And as they were able to pull away with a 2-run 5th inning, thanks to a Mike Brousseau double to give them the lead in the first place. For the Washington Nationals, the start went to John Lester. He allowed he allowed 1 earned run in 3.2 innings pitched as he went on to strike out 2. The loss would go to the Nationals' first relief pitcher who finished off that inning, Wander Suero. Wander Suero would end up allowing 2 earned runs in .1 inning pitched, and with this loss, he is now 0-1 as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, no one was able to finish with more than 1 hit, and that can be chalked up to just great pitching from Tampa Bay. For the Rays, the start in the win went to Tyler Glasnow. He allowed 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 11. With this win, Tyler Glasnow is 5-2 as a starting pitcher this season, and then the save would end up going to their closer, Diego Castillo. Castillo would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out 1. That would be his 10th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Manuel Margot, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 6th home run of the season. And then their first baseman, Yandy Diaz, will go 2 for 4 on the day. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 39-23. That is the best record in the American League East. That is the best record in the American League, and they currently hold the second best record in the MLB. They sit a game and a half ahead of the second place Boston Red Sox in the division. The Rays have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 24-33. That is the worst record in the National League East. They now trail the New York Mets by 7 games in the division. The Nationals have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Miami, the Miami Marlins hosted the Colorado Rockies. Then the Marlins were able to beat the Rockies 6-2 as 4 of their runs came in the 3rd inning. For the Colorado Rockies, the start and the loss would go to Antonio Senzatella. He would allow 4 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this loss, Senzatella is 2-6 as a starting pitcher on the season. And then their elite right fielder, Charlie Blackmon, was the only player with more than 1 hit. He went 2 for 3 with a run for the Rockies. For the Miami Marlins, the start and the win with the Pablo Lopez. He allowed 2 earned runs in 8 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this win, he is now 2-3 as a starting pitcher for the Miami Marlins. Their shortstop, Jazz Chisholm Jr., would go 2 for 5 with 2 runs. Their center fielder, Starling Marte, would go 3 for 4 with 2 runs. Their first baseman, Jesus Aguilar, will go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. And then their right fielder, Adam Duvall, will go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Their second baseman, John Berti, would also go 2 for 4 as he finished with a run for the day. With this win, the Miami Marlins are now 26-34. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They now trail the New York Mets by 6.5 games in the division. The Marlins have now won 2 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are now 24-37. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 14.5 games in the division. The Rockies have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds hosted the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Brewers were able to beat the Reds 5-1 after the Reds scored the very first run of the game. For the Reds, the start went to Sonny Gray. Gray would allow no earned runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The loss would go to the Reds' second relief pitcher, Ryan Hendricks. Hendricks would go on to allow 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 1. With this loss, he is now 2-1 as a relief pitcher for Cincinnati. And in the Cincinnati batting lineup, nobody would finish with more than 1 hit. That could be chalked up to great pitching from the Brewers. For the Brewers, the start and the win went to Adrian Hauser. He allowed 1 earned run in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, he is 4-5 as a starting pitcher this season. And then in their batting lineup, their right fielder, Avisail Garcia, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 12th home run of the season, as he was the only player on the day that had more than 1 hit in this game. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 34-26. That is the best record in the National League Central. They sit half a game ahead of the second-place Chicago Cubs. The Brewers have won 9 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 28-30. That is the 4th best record in the NL Central. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 5 games in the division. The Reds have now lost 4 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Dallas, the Texas Rangers hosted the San Francisco Giants, and the Giants were able to beat the Texas Rangers 9-4 as 7 of their 9 runs came in the last 2 innings as they came from behind. For the Texas Rangers in this matchup, the start went to Jordan Lyles. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The loss would go to the Rangers' second relief pitcher, Joely Rodriguez. He would allow 3 earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, he is now 1-3 as a relief pitcher for the Texas Rangers. In their batting lineup, their shortstop, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, will go 3 for 4 with a run on the day. And then for the San Francisco Giants in this matchup, the start went to their ace, Alex Wood, or their second best pitcher. One of their best pitchers, Alex Wood. He would allow 4 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. He would not get the decision. The Giants' third relief pitcher, Jose Alvarez, would end up with the win as he allowed no earned runs in the .2 innings that he pitched. With this win, Alvarez is 2-1 as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Lamonte Wade Jr., would end up going 3 for 5. Their catcher, former National League MVP Buster Posey, would go 2 for 5 with a run. Their first baseman, Brandon Belt, would go 3 for 4 with 3 runs. Their shortstop, Brandon Crawford, would go 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs, as Brandon Crawford would go on to hit his 13th and 14th home runs of the season yesterday. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 38-22. That is the best record in the National League West, the best record in the National League, and that is the best record in the MLB as a whole. They sit 2.5 games ahead of the second-place San Diego Padres within the division, and the Giants have won 8 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are now officially 23-39. That is the worst record in the American League West, and they now trail the Oakland Athletics by 13 games in the division. The Rangers have lost 9 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to Chicago, the South Side, the Chicago White Sox hosted the Toronto Blue Jays, and the White Sox were able to beat the Blue Jays 6-1. The score was 1-0 for the Blue Jays all the way through the 7th inning, up until the 7th inning, and the White Sox would tie it up thanks to a Vaughn home run. But then Vaughn would lead the 8th he would start off with a sacrifice fly in the 8th to bring someone home as it started their rally to give them their 37th win of the season. For the Blue Jays in this matchup, the start went to Robbie Ray. Ray allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 13 on the day. The loss will go to the Toronto Blue Jays' second relief pitcher, Trent Thornton. Thornton would allow 3 earned runs in .1 innings pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter. With this loss, Thornton is 1-2 as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, their shortstop, Bo Bichette, would be the only player with more than 1 hit as he went 2 for 3 on the day. For the Chicago White Sox, the start went through Carlos Rodon. He allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 8. He would not get the decision. The win would go to the Chicago White Sox third relief pitcher, Garrett Crochet, or Crotchet. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but sorry if I butchered the name. He would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out 2. With his win, Crotchet is 2-2 as a relief pitcher on the season. In their batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Tim Anderson, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI, and then their right fielder, Luis Garcia would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are now 37-23. That is the best record in the American League Central. They now sit 4 games ahead of the second place Cleveland Indians in the division, and the White Sox have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 30-28. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They now sit 7 games behind the first place Tampa Bay Rays in the division, and they have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to the Twin Cities, the Minnesota Twins hosted the New York Yankees, and the Yankees were able to beat the Twins 8-4 to give Loaisiga his 5th win of the season. For the Minnesota Twins in this matchup, the start went to Michael Pineda. He allowed 2 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The loss would go to the Twins' 4th relief pitcher, Taylor Rogers. Rogers would allow 2 earned runs in 1 inning pitched, and with this loss, he is now 2-3 as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, their catcher, Ryan Jeffers, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And then their left fielder, Trevor Larnach, would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. And then their center fielder, Rob Refsnyder, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI. For the New York Yankees in this matchup, the start would end up going to Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery allowed 3 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 6. He did not get a decision. The win would go to the Yankees' first relief pitcher, Jonathan Loaisiga. Loaisiga would allow no earned runs in 1.1 inning pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter. With this win, Loaisiga is now 5-2 as a relief pitcher this season. In their batting lineup, their elite first baseman, DJ LeMahieu, Lemay, he would go 2 for 6 with an RBI. Their shortstop, Gleyber Torres, would go 2 for 5. Their elite designated hitter, Giancarlo Stanton, would also go 2 for 5. Their catcher, Gary Sanchez, would go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 7th home run of the season. And then their left fielder, Miguel Andujar, will go 2 for 4 with 1 RBI and 3 runs. Andujar would hit his 4th home run of the season. With this win, the New York Yankees are now 32-29. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East. They now sit 6.5 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays in the division, and the Yankees have now won 3 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Minnesota Twins are now 24-36. That is the worst record in the American League Central, as they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 13 games in the division. The Twins have now lost 6 of their last 10 games. And right now, as it that's how those two teams are faring. Jumping out to St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals hosted the Cleveland Indians, and the Indians were able to beat the Cardinals 10-1. As the Indians were just laying it in from beginning to end. And the win would go to the reigning American League Cy Young winner. But for the St. Louis Cardinals first, the start and the loss went to their starting pitcher, Carlos Martinez. He would allow 5 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this loss, he is 3-6 as a starting pitcher this season. Their second baseman, Matt Carpenter, would go 2 for 3. And then their shortstop, Edmundo Sosa, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. For the Cleveland Indians, the start and the win went to Shane Bieber. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, Shane Bieber is now 7-3 as a starting pitcher this season. In their batting lineup, their shortstop, Ahmed Rosario, will go 3 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their elite third baseman, Jose Ramirez, would go 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 14th home run of the season, the only home run for the Indians on the night. Their third baseman, Eddie Rosario, would go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Their right fielder, Josh Naylor, would go 2 for 5 with a run, and then their catcher, Sam Hentges, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run for himself. For the St. Louis, With this win, the Cleveland Indians are now 32-26. That is the second best record in the American League Central. They now sit 4 games behind the first place Chicago White Sox in the division, and they have won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 31-30. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They now sit 3.5 games behind the first place Milwaukee Brewers in the division. The Cardinals have now lost 8 of their last 10. Jumping out to Los Angeles, the Angels hosted the Kansas City Royals, and the Angels were able to beat the Royals 8-1. In this matchup, they would hold the Royals to 6 hits on the day, as they were able to pick up their 29th win of the season. For the Kansas City Royals, the start and the loss would end up going to their starting pitcher, Kris Bubic. Bubic would allow 6 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Kris Bubic is now 1-1 as a starting pitcher for the Royals this season. And then in their batting lineup, the only player for the Royals that registered more than 1 hit was their shortstop, Hanser Alberto. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. And then for the Los Angeles Angels, the start and the win went to Andrew Heaney. Heaney would allow 1 earned run in 6.2 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this win, Andrew Heaney is now 4-3 as a starting pitcher this year. In their batting lineup, their designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 17th home run of the season. Their catcher, Max Stassi, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 4th home run of the season. And with this win, the Los Angeles Angels are now 29-32. With this win, that is the 4th best record in the American League West, as they now trail the Oakland Athletics by 6.5 games in the division. The Angels have now won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 29-30. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They now sit 7.5 games behind the Chicago White Sox in the division, and the Royals have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to the Bay Area, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they were able to pull off a 5-2 win, as all 5 of their runs came in the 4th inning. Or all of the 5 runs for the A's came in the 4th inning, but it still gave them their 36th win of the season. For the Diamondbacks in this matchup, the start and the loss went to their starting pitcher, Jon Duplantier. He would allow 4 earned runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Duplantier is 0-2 as a starting pitcher. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Christian Walker, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs, as he hit his 2nd home run of the season. And then their left fielder, Pavin Smith, would go 2 for 4. For the Oakland Athletics, the start and the win went to their starting pitcher, Chris Bassett. He allowed 2 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, he is now 6-2 as a starting pitcher, and then the save would end up going to their closer, Lou Trevino. Trevino would allow no earned runs in one inning pitched, as that would be his 9th save of the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than one hit was their pinch hitter, Chad Pinder. Pinder would go 3 for 3 after subbing in for Seth Brown, as he finished with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Oakland Athletics are now 36-26. That is the best record in the American League West. They now sit a game ahead of the second place Houston Astros in the division, and the Athletics have now won 6 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 20-42. That is the worst record in the National League or the National League West. That's the worst record in the National League, and that's actually the worst record in the major leagues. They now sit 19 games behind the first place San Francisco Giants in the division, and the Diamondbacks have now lost 8 of their last 10 games. Jumping out to San Diego, the San Diego Padres took on the Chicago Cubs, and the Cubs were able to beat the Padres 7-1 to give Zach Davies his 3rd win of the season. For the San Diego Padres, the start in the loss went to Dinelson Lamet. Lamet would allow 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, he is now 1-1 as a starting pitcher this season. And in their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, and a lot of that can be attributed to great pitching from the Chicago Cubs. For the Chicago Cubs, the start in the win went to their starting pitcher, Zach Davies. He allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, he is now 3-3 as a starting pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, the former LA Dodger, Jock Peterson, would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. And alongside him in their batting lineup, their first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, would end up going 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs as Rizzo hit his 6th home run of the season. With this win, the Chicago Cubs are now 34-27. That is the second best record in the National League Central. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by half a game in the division. The Cubs have now won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are now 37-26. That is currently the second best record in the National League West and the second best record in the National League. They now sit 2.5 games behind the first place San Francisco Giants in their division. The Padres have now lost 7 of their last 10 games. Right now, that is what the MLB is looking like as we transition into today's games. Today's not a travel game, so we should expect a lot of games today. Starting at 2:05, Kyle Gibson and the Texas Rangers are going to host Sam Long and the San Francisco Giants. Kyle Gibson is currently holding a 4-0 record alongside a 2.06 ERA, just for context. At 3:37, Sean Manaea and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Matt Peacock and the Arizona Diamondbacks. At 4:10, the San Diego Padres, led by their elite starting pitcher Yu Darvish, are going to host Jake Arrieta and the Chicago Cubs at 4:10. Yu Darvish is currently holding a 6-1 record alongside a 2.25 ERA. At 7:05, Tyler Anderson and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Tony Gonsolin and the defending World Series champs Los Angeles Dodgers. At the same time, Matt Harvey and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Taijuan Walker and the New York Mets. Taijuan Walker is currently holding a 4-2 record alongside a 2.17 ERA. So that's going to be it looks as though he may continue his pitching dominance this season. At 7:10, the Miami Marlins are going to host Austin Gomber and the Colorado Rockies at 7:10. At the same time, Nathan Eovaldi and the Boston Red Sox are going to host Jake Odorizzi and the Houston Astros. Nate Eovaldi is currently sporting a 7-2 record alongside a 3.78 ERA. At the same time, 7:10, Vladimir Gutierrez and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Brett Anderson and the Milwaukee Brewers. Vladimir Gutierrez is currently sporting a 1-1 record alongside a 2.70 ERA. At 7:10, Casey Mize and the Detroit Tigers are going to host Chris Flexen and the Seattle Mariners. At the same time, at 7:10, Shane McClanahan and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Patrick Corbin and the Washington Nationals. At 8:10, Randy Dobnak and the Minnesota Twins are going to host the New York Yankees, led by their elite starting pitcher Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is currently holding on to a 6-3 record as his ERA is at 2.26 on the year. At 8:10 on ESPN Plus, Lance Lynn and the Chicago White Sox are going to host Alek Manoah and the Toronto Blue Jays. Lance Lynn is currently rocking a 7-1 record with a 1.23 ERA at this point in the season. At 8:15, Adam Wainwright and the St. Louis Cardinals are going to host Giancarlo Mejia and the Cleveland Indians. And then at 9:30 on ESPN, the last game of the night, Griffin Canning and the Los Angeles Angels are going to host Brad Keller and the Kansas City Royals. So that's everything that's going on, at least within the United States, as it comes to sports. And then looking out to what's been going on with international friendlies around the world. Starting off in Spain, Spain was able to beat Lithuania 4-0, and then France was able to beat Bulgaria 3-0. As the first goal came from their elite forward that also plays for Barcelona, Antoine Griezmann, and then they would get 2 goals from Olivier Giroud, their old striker, who is now. He is now 2 goals closer to Thierry Henry for the most goals in French national team history, just to give a sense of what that's looking like. And then looking at the World Cup qualifying matchups in South America, Colombia was able to draw with Argentina. That was a 2-2 matchup. And then Brazil was able to beat Paraguay 2-0 as their first goal came from their elite forward, Neymar. But right now, that is what the world of sports is looking like as we enter today, Wednesday, June 9th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I want to thank everyone for listening to all 35 minutes of this piece. I want to thank ESPN. I want to thank MLB. I want to thank NBA for the data, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. And with that said, once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow on Thursday, June 10th, for another episode of The Elite. But until then, I want to thank everyone once again. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out.